Good evening. In the fast-moving landscape of the 2026 music industry, mainstream success typically demands high-octane public drama, intense social media presence, or carefully orchestrated public feuds. Yet, an unprecedented anomaly has disrupted the entire global entertainment market, turning a traditional vocal talent named Lucy Thomas into an overnight powerhouse. To the casual observer, her meteoric rise appears to be a wholesome, grassroots triumph of pure talent over modern industry cynicism. However, our deep dive investigation into the back-end mechanics of this sudden cultural shift reveals a highly calculated blueprint that is completely reshaping how stardom is bought and sold. Hook, but what if the wholesome narrative keeping millions glued to their screens isn't a natural success story at all, but the most sophisticated corporate media experiment of the decade? Industry insiders are pointing to a hidden infrastructure designed specifically to exploit consumer fatigue, using a polished image as a powerful psychological tool. Our news team spent weeks tracking the data, analyzing the distribution networks, and speaking with whistleblowers who describe a system that is far less organic than the public is being led to believe. This isn't just about a singer capturing the hearts of a new generation. It is a masterclass in behavioral engineering disguised as a simple musical comeback. As we pull back the curtain on this operation, the data reveals a meticulous, step-by-step rollout that left absolutely nothing to chance, turning a quiet performer into an unstoppable digital juggernaut. To understand how this phenomenon took over the airwaves, we have to look closely at the deliberate countercultural positioning executed by her management team. For the past several years, major record labels operating in the digital space operated under the strict assumption that younger audiences only craved fast-paced, hypervisual content filled with shock value. This team realized that the market was reaching a breaking point of absolute oversaturation, creating a massive, untapped demand for something entirely different. They positioned this specific artist not merely as a vocalist, but as a direct antidote to modern societal chaos, transforming traditional simplicity into the ultimate form of media defiance. Every public release, vintage outfit choice, and understated performance was carefully designed to feel entirely untouched by the aggressive, cynical nature of modern Hollywood. Hook. Yet, documents obtained from early marketing briefings show that this exact sense of effortless innocence was meticulously planned out in corporate boardrooms months before a single track was ever uploaded to streaming platforms. The presentation was designed to weaponize nostalgia, offering a safe, comforting haven for an audience experiencing severe digital burnout. It was a brilliant psychological trapdoor. By presenting something that felt real and unpolished, they captured a massive demographic that had grown completely distrustful of typical mainstream media stars. What looked like a spontaneous rejection of modern trends was actually a highly calculated commercial strategy, executed with absolute military precision. Our technical analysis next turned to the digital distribution networks, where the fingerprints of a massive, highly sophisticated media apparatus become undeniable. Traditional artists rely on standard promotional runs, radio interviews, and heavy social media presence, but this campaign completely bypassed the conventional playbook. Instead, tech specialists deployed what industry watchdogs call an automated nostalgia network, surgically embedding her audio tracks into specific niche algorithms. They bypassed standard pop channels entirely, focusing heavily on online subcultures dedicated to vintage lifestyle content, historical aesthetics, and peaceful visual curation. Millions of users began seeing these cinematic clips across their daily feeds, creating a powerful illusion that they had personally discovered a hidden, rare gem on their own. Hook. But a closer look at the timestamps reveals that these seemingly random, independent fan accounts were all publishing identical high-definition clips within milliseconds of each other. This artificial saturation created a powerful wave of social proof, forcing the platform algorithms to continuously recommend the content to broader audiences. It was a flawless digital loop. The system fed the content to users who craved comfort, and the users unknowingly drove the metrics even higher by sharing what they believed was a grassroots discovery. The reality, however, was an incredibly aggressive, multi-layered distribution network operating entirely behind the scenes. As the streaming numbers continued to break industry records, independent data analysts began flags regarding highly unusual patterns in the trajectory of the growth metrics. A typical, organic rise for any public figure always shows a natural wave pattern filled with distinct peaks and valleys as public interest fluctuates over time. In this specific case, the chart trajectory presented a nearly perfect, unyielding straight upward line for months on end, defying standard statistical expectations. Investigative journalists tracking the phenomenon began uncovering whispered reports of hidden curation blocks, often referred to in the industry as ghost syndicates. These are massive, unlisted asset networks controlled by powerful institutional stakeholders that quietly feed specific audio tracks into the background of millions of automated videos. Hook. When we audited the background music logs of the top global streaming channels, we found her catalog quietly running on a loop beneath thousands of unrelated, silent ambient feeds. This tactic effectively forced the music into the subconscious of global listeners without their active consent, causing millions to feel an unexplainable familiarity with the brand. It gave the illusion of a massive cultural movement, masking a heavily funded corporate push that manipulated platform mechanics to guarantee a historic chart victory. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of this entire operation is the strict policy of total information isolation enforced by the management team. In the current media landscape, public figures are explicitly told that they must provide constant, unscripted access to their personal lives through live streaming and daily interactions to remain relevant. This strategy took the exact opposite approach, implementing an absolute media blackout that completely locked down all casual communication. There are no unscripted moments, no casual interactions with fans, and an absolute ban on traditional, confrontational press interviews. This complete lack of access naturally created a massive information vacuum, and the internet did exactly what it always does. It filled the silence with endless fascination, theories, and intense speculation. Hook, however, industry insiders hint that this extreme secrecy is actually a legal necessity, hidden behind strict, multi-million-dollar non-disclosure agreements designed to protect the true financial backers. By revealing absolutely nothing about the day-to-day operation, the management team successfully transformed ordinary silence into an incredibly valuable premium commodity. The public wasn't just consuming music. They were attempting to solve a mystery, which kept engagement metrics at an all-time high, while ensuring the core brand remained completely untouched by external scrutiny. Maintaining a perfectly flawless public image in the modern digital era is an impossible task for almost any public figure, unless they possess an incredibly aggressive defensive network. Our investigation uncovered evidence of a highly organized, round-the-clock digital cleanup crew tasked with monitoring global search engines and public forums. Whenever independent commentators or media analysts attempt to investigate the corporate backing, analyze the management structure, or raise critical questions, the content faces immediate pushback. Video essays exploring the backend of the channel are frequently hit with swift, automated copyright flags, while critical threads on major social media platforms face sudden, unexplained algorithmic suppression. Hook. Whistleblowers within major content moderation firms have quietly revealed that specific high-profile brands receive priority protection, allowing them to systematically erase critical public discourse in real time. This creates a beautifully polished, completely impenetrable digital fortress, where only the most positive, idealized narratives are allowed to reach the general public. Any dissenting voice or technical critique is quietly and effectively scrubbed from the digital record before it can gain mainstream traction, ensuring the highly profitable image remains perfectly pristine. What we are witnessing in 2026 is no longer just a standard music career. It is the definitive prototype for the next generation of mainstream media manipulation. This operation has proven that in an era where the public has grown completely exhausted by constant exposure and manufactured controversy, innocence and mystery can be engineered as the ultimate commercial product. The true marketing secret was never about changing the art itself, but about manufacturing an illusion of safety that a fragmented, tired society desperately wanted to believe in. It forces a critical, urgent conversation about the absolute survival of genuine authenticity in the digital age. Hook. If a spotless, grassroots sensation can be entirely constructed from the ground up by unseen corporate interests, the line between reality and media fiction has officially vanished. As the systems driving these platforms grow increasingly sophisticated, the ability to discern a real human movement from a flawless corporate rollout will become nearly impossible for the average consumer. Lucy Thomas has successfully become the definitive face of purity, but the cold, hard mechanics operating behind her throne prove that in the modern media landscape, even innocence has a precise, calculated price tag.